All right, everyone, welcome back into Cherry Picking. Today's episode must add, probably the last one of the season. I know I'm in my championship round here. A lot of people are this week as well, with only 3 weeks left in the regular season. You know, there's a lot of disparity in the last few weeks, so a lot of the seasons we're seeing come to an end this week, which is kind of a shame, but playoff hockey is coming, so we'll definitely be able to create more content around there. But let me know if you do want one more week of must add. Not a problem at all. It's definitely something I could do, but we got 4 players this week. As I mentioned, huge week, championship week for some of you. Got some 4 really good ads, so let's get right into it. So we're adding 2 players from the St. Louis Blues this week. We're going to start with Sammy Blais. This is a guy we know is a role player. You know, he bangs bodies around, blocks shots, and scores here and there. But more recently, he's been dialed in offensively, 11 points in his last 10 games, and that's solely in 5-on-5 situations with 6 goals and 5 assists. So that's very impressive. And right now, as a fantasy owner of Sammy Blais, you're getting the score and touch that you won't generally see from him throughout the regular season consistently. Now he's scoring at an insane rate right now. Maybe it's not sustainable, but here's why I think it can be this week. For starters, they have 4 games, some great matchups on top of that as well with the Canucks, the Blackhawks, and the Preds. They do end the week with a game against Boston, but still the other matchups are definitely ones you should be focused on. He plays on the third line with Buchnevich and Kapanen. It's really starting to cause teams some trouble, so I wouldn't even consider it a third line. He's playing much more minutes than a third line regular player would, and he's playing on the top power play line right now. It's an opportunity he really didn't get when he was playing in New York. The last thing that will separate Blais from the rest, his hitting and aggression. I mean, he's known for this. He has 200 plus hits on the season and 45 in his last 10 games, which is double the closest to his teammate with just 17 hits, and that's Nathan Walker. So at 21% rostered, grab Sammy Blais. All right, Kasperi Kapanen, the other guy that should pique your interest on the Blues this week. As I mentioned, tons of great matchups for this team and some sneaky ads, these 2 guys, considering, you know, that they did get moved at the deadline. Kasperi Kapanen was on Pittsburgh before. Sammy Blais was on the Rangers, but now we're seeing on this Blues team that definitely on the offensive side of the puck, not very developed. Some injuries as well as hurt. They moved some other guys at the deadline with these guys coming in, so definitely more opportunity for them. You can have a little bit more faith, I would say, when picking up Kapanen in terms of his offensive skill. He's a very speedy winger that has ability to score in bunches, especially when he's firing and when he's on. And we're seeing that recently. He has 3 goals and 4 points in his last 2 games, where he's played around 18 minutes per game in those 2 contests. Kapanen plays on the third line, as I mentioned, with Buchnevich and Blais, while joining the second power play line as kind of the quarterback there on the point. And then he's also on the second penalty kill unit, a position we've seen him play for many different teams. He's a very good on the penalty kill. One of the mentions I before, just because of his speed. So he did have that role with Pittsburgh and with Toronto. And looking how he compares with his team for the last 10 games in 5-on-5 situations, he's 3rd in shots on goal, 2nd in Corsi for, and 2nd in Fenwick for. So creating a lot of his own scoring opportunities, which is great to see. Shooting the puck a little bit more than maybe we saw in Pittsburgh, or even he wasn't maybe given that opportunity in Pittsburgh, but now in this lineup, even playing on that third line with Buchnevich and Blais, definitely a guy I would add this week. So if you can't grab Blais, he'd probably be my priority add for this team. I would definitely scoop up Kapanen. All right, the Flyers. So again, kind of a poverty team here that I'm telling you to pick a player off of, but a guy that's been taking advantage of his first line play and really playing some solid hockey, and that's Joel Farabee on the Flyers. So let's look at his numbers the last 10 games and see where he stands against the rest of this Flyers team. He's 2nd in ice time among forwards, only behind Owen Tippett, who's really just playing all the time. Over his last 10 games, he's averaging over 20 minutes per game, which is a lot, especially for a guy that's that young. He's 1st in points, though, Joel Farabee, over the last 10 games played. 1st in points with 8 points and 4 goals, and he's 2nd in high danger chances for. So if you need offense, this is definitely the guy you want to add this week. As I did mention, he's playing on that first line with Owen Tippett and Noah Cates. They've got 4 games this week and some really, really good matchups, I have to say. This is the Flyers kind of lucked out here. If you have Flyers players, you are definitely in the plus for this week. They play the Canadiens tonight. They get the Senators on Thursday, Sabres on Saturday, and then Penguins on Sunday. All those teams have been very poor defensively recently and throughout the entire season, and then shaky goaltending as well. So if you already have a piece of this first line, you're laughing. If it's not Tippett, he's probably already gone. Joel Farabee is definitely the second best option. All right, so the last guy, just 5% rostered. Being able to grab a piece of any first line late in the season is big. And yes, definitely there's a lot of moving parts we'll see later on the season, especially on some of these worst teams when they're trying to figure out kind of who's going to be on this team next season and kind of what players fit well together. But this Nashville first line, this solid trio through Luke Evangelista, Cody Glass, and then Philip Tomasino who's the guy we will be adding this week. So as I mentioned, 5% rostered, 10 points in his last 10 games. This first line has really been doing all the offensive production for this Predators team. He's definitely more of an assist guy on this line with 8 helpers over that stretch. So if you're in a categories league and you're looking for assists, this could be a guy that could definitely be advantageous to add this week. He plays on the first power play line with virtually the same guys as his 5-on-5 line. And definitely not the same plus matchups, I would say, obviously, as some of these other guys that I've talked about. But he's playing just under 18 minutes per game. If you're looking to add a winner from this first line, it's going to be Philip Tomasino over Luke Evangelista. Tomasino involved in many more scoring opportunities. I think they are starting to look to him as one of the better playmakers on this team as well. So I think that trust as well is probably giving him the opportunity to play a little bit more. So he might not be on the top of my list this week, but in the deep league, Tomasino I think could prove to be very helpful if you need him, especially in the championship round. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, please let me know if you're looking for a must-add next week, if you're still in your fantasy hockey playoffs. If not, look forward to the next video. A lot of NHL playoff content will be coming out soon, and I'll see you guys next time.